Hello everybody, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Today I wanted to kind of go over an idea I had to kind of better the game a little bit. It's just speculation. I like thinking of, hey, what if they did this? What if they did that? And I got to thinking, I was like, what is something that I think would really help the game and be really cool for the community? And the biggest thing I noticed, the biggest issue I have, and this is just fun-wise, again, just all just being fun and something to kind of enjoy. I was like, what's kind of an issue right now? And I thought, man, I saw a video. I can't remember who the video was from. If I ever remember, I'll put them in the comments. But someone pointed out that in this game, in Watcher of Realms, there's a bunch of different fantasy creatures. We have orcs, we have demons, we have centaurs, we have elves, we have beastmen. But one faction that just is kind of lackluster across the board, I would say, are the dwarves. I mean, look at the heroes that all the content creators you can tell it on their face. They pull one of them and they're just like, man, what a disappointment. Just starting with Azor. I mean, no one wants to pull an Azor. I mean, they're not good. Next, if we're looking at continuing now, the not good dwarves, we got good old Cratch. I mean, nobody wants him. And with his buff, nobody still wants him. It's just, they're not good. I think the only dwarf that has any kind of saving grace is Narvi, and that's just for her cost regen. Some people use her, and Brokir. I think Brokir is only good because defenders are kind of easy to make good, and he's got this unique passive where when he takes fatal damage, when it's max skilled, he'll just sit there for 12 seconds and just block the lane, and then he comes back, and by that time he should be fully healed if you got a healer on him. So he's just beefy, and he does what needs to be done. He defends, he blocks pretty good, but other than that, the dwarves are not good. I mean, they dropped Orm, and he looked like he was going to be unique, a tank that did damage. Nobody is using him. I don't see him being used. There's better heroes out there, and I thought, well, what's some way that they could make the dwarves better? I was like, well, it'd be cool if they made a dwarf faction. All of the dwarves besides Bruenor are single faction heroes. Bruenor is the only dwarf that has two factions, and that's fine. There's sometimes you see heroes that you would think belong to something, but they're just assigned to something else, and that makes sense. That fits into the game. But they could go in and they could slap these factions on other people. They did it with Valkyra, and they did it with Constance. They were both out, and then they announced the Arbiters, and they were like, hey, these two heroes are going to become Arbiters. And it works out. They're not going to have all the factions planned out. But I thought it would be something really cool to add dwarves. And I was like, well, what could be their saving grace? I was like, well, if their faction ability was strong. If you look into any kind of lore or mythology about dwarves, they were all mighty constructs, and that's kind of across the fantasy board. Any game that you play with dwarves, any kind of books that you read, they were just mighty constructs. In Northern mythology, it was the dwarves that created Thor's hammer. They created the mighty boar, the golden war boar. And other genres or other forms of media, that they're just mighty constructs. And if you look at this game, it shows here too. If we go and we look at the defenders, right, the volcanic anvil, right, the health forged betrayer, it shows that this game also wants them to be mighty constructors. So I was thinking their faction ability could kind of be a little bit like Elf, right? So she has this little wood elf that you can place down. It has a cost, but it gets down to like every 30 seconds, it's fully sealed up. You can place the wood elf somewhere on the field. I was thinking, man, it'd be cool if they got a construct, maybe the mighty WoR. And it could be if you have just one dwarf, the WoR is not good. You know, it could cost too much, stats be kind of low, or it doesn't have an ability, it just does basic attacks. But as you increase the amount of dwarves you have on your team, or the rarity of the hero, or the leader, you know, the board could get stronger. You know, it could go up to where you have 5 dwarves on your team, and the construct has a nice ability. You know, in Age of Mythology, the mighty WoR would kick around and it would knock everything up and knock them back, and that could be something similar. You know, it just has an ability that knocks something back, or just it belches fire. You know, and or its stats could be really good. You know, its stats could be stronger, or it could be something where, you know, you could pick what kind of construct it is. It could have a fighter construct that deals some damage. It could have a defender construct that just tanks. It could have a healer construct. It could be a bunch of different things. You know, the Arbiter's faction ability is a little diverse and a little complex. You know, but the more you have, the faster it gets up, and the stronger it is. You know, it wouldn't be too hard to do that for the dwarves, but I think it would really bring the dwarves into the light. Like right now, it really seems like the developers of Watchers of Realms just don't like dwarves, and it could be that's their plan. You know, they want a faction that's just a race that's just kind of weak, but they have the potential to make them cool and make them strong. It would really change things for the dwarves that are already out. They could announce new dwarves, but it could be something that they wouldn't have to go back and change all these other dwarves. You know, they wouldn't have to go back and fix Cratch again, go back and make Azwar better. You know, because it'd be a dwarf that you could throw into the faction and make the ability better. I think it'd be a really cool idea. If you watch the video, you know, maybe let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any faction ideas. I know in previous games I'd post on Reddit occasionally, but hey, like, what'd be a cool faction that we could think about adding to the game? You know, it might never get added. It could be something that they're working on, but it's always cool to talk about. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.